I've been wanting to share this idea for a while, or these ideas for a while, this curriculum for a while, and I'm just trying to figure out exactly how to share it. When I initially created this curriculum or started working on this curriculum, it wasn't so much something I thought I would give to put online or share with many individuals. This was something that I was building for my household, my kids, and the kids I thought I would have at the time, right? So I built this curriculum as something that I could implement in my household to ensure that my kids had the education, the learning experiences, the life experiences that would help better prepare them for success in this world and where the world is going. Um, and I will admit, I do have some unorthodox views for how I want to raise my kid, or maybe some non-traditional views on how I want to raise my kid, as well as um, various wild ideas on how I would want to um, mold my child's develop, or my kid's development, so that they could have a solid foundation for what life may throw at them. Again, I thought this would be something I would implement in my household for my kids. So as I share with you, I'm sure there'll be things that you may disagree with or things that you may see differently. And you should. I mean, if you take the time to listen to these videos and kind of get an idea of where this curriculum is structured, how this curriculum is structured, I wholeheartedly believe you should modify. If you want to take the whole curriculum and modify it for your household, that makes perfect sense. I recommend it. If you don't agree with everything in the curriculum, but there are certain things that you may want to try to implement in your household and with your kids, then take that and use it for your benefit. Use it however you need to use it. I just think if there's something good in this curriculum that you see and can agree with, use it however you can to give your kids a greater foundation for learning and for success in this world. So I think the best way maybe to go about this is to share with you the various ideas I have about it, maybe answer questions that I think should be asked, and to provide you with opportunities so that you can, you know, review those things in the comment section. I have thought maybe this is something I could turn into a business, make profitable with some institution or creating an institution, but at the same time, I'd rather just give this to you. And if you think it's something that could be of your benefit or be of your child or your children's benefit, and you want to further discuss that, we can discuss that. I, hmm, I don't know. We'll just figure it out. But let's go from there. So I think one question parents or individuals should ask is what is the core philosophy of this curriculum, or this in-home educational curriculum that I'm trying to share with you. And I can tell you that the core philosophy is built on the foundational belief, or the fundamental belief, that the parent is the person that has sole responsibility for for overseeing the child's education, learning experiences, life experiences, and for raising that child, training that child, molding that child, being intentional, or for many individuals, I guess let me say that differently. The core philosophy of this curriculum is that the parent sees it as their responsibility to oversee their child's development, their learning, the education they attain, and the life experiences that they gain throughout their life. I think that and I'm sure I'm going to say this in many other videos. In today's time, we as individuals, maybe parents, guardians, we have gotten so accustomed to the idea that the educational school system is solely responsible for your kids' upbringing, not just the education, but I think for many individuals, for many parents have delegated that responsibility of raising their kids to the individuals within the school system. And they expect the individual within the school system to not only educate them, but they expect the school system to raise them. And I'm not saying that's every parent. It's a lot. It's a lot. So instead of taking that mindset that the kids' education is delegated to the school system, the ideal of this philosophy, the ideal of this curriculum is that the parent oversees and manages the child's learning experiences, life experiences, and education obtained throughout their lifetime, or throughout periods of time in their life. I know a lot of individuals can say you can't control everything. True, but you can definitely control and influence a lot as a parent. And especially if your mindset is to create a certain culture, create a certain environment for your child prior to having children, or prior to your child being influenced by outside forces outside of your house, external to your household. External to your home or your community. I think parents can play a huge role in these various areas for a kid's development. And I just think the ideal is, as parents, you have to be more intentional with what you're doing with your kid and the reason why you're doing these things with your kid. This curriculum does take a more holistic approach for a child's upbringing and development. I'm not just looking at their education that they would get in a school system. I'm looking at the things I feel and think that they would need to not only be successful in school, which is a very small part, but to be successful in life. And that right there include many areas and subject topics that the kid needs to have insight and understanding into, need to have some education of prior to stepping outside of my household, prior to going into the world by themselves to go and do whatever they're going to do in this lifetime. And those are things that I am trying to correct through the use of this curriculum. I will also say this, as a parent, if you're going to look at this curriculum and think this is something you want to implement, you have to be very open-minded to many things that are going to be discussed or many things that are going to be suggested. And I say that solely because a lot of these things do require you as an individual to kind of correct or check yourself, as well as to provide things for your kid that you may not have been given to. You may not have been given. So I think for many of us, and I think I could break that down better with time as we get more into the questions and as we get more into the content. I think there are some key principles that I should also discuss with this curriculum, and they kind of fall within the philosophy of it. One, I've already said, the parent has the responsibility. You must see yourself as that individual, as the governor for your child's development. You must see yourself as an active individual for your child's development. Not just I'm raising my kids in the traditional sense, we're in the house together, but each day I am implementing certain things in my kids' life that I want them to pour and gain from. Not only do I want them to have that experience in the household, but we're also discussing the topic, the subject, the activity prior to and after their completion of it or their attempt at it. But as a parent, you cannot see the school system as the individual or the organization responsible for your child's education, which is crazy to me, right? Here's the thing. I don't see how many of us rely on the educational system or think that the educational system is going to provide our kids with the education that they need, when at one time they didn't even want us to have an education. What makes you think at today's time they're going to give your kid the best education? That's just foolishness. Here's something else that's foolish. Many of us have already been through this process of going through primary and secondary educational institutions in the U.S. and graduating high school. And after high school, things happen in life, and we have these conversations, and we say, or get to the point of realizing, they did not prepare us for everything we need to know, everything we're going to deal with after high school. And much of our time spent in high school was a waste. Maybe there was some social development aspect of it, yes, that was beneficial and helpful. But many of the classes we took, it didn't help us in life after high school, life after graduation. And yet we send our kids to these same schools thinking they're going to get a better education. I don't understand how that makes sense. I don't understand how that makes sense as individual parents. And then here's the craziness. Depending on where you live at, back in the day, it was your students or your kids would have some of your same teachers. And your teacher will remember your parents. That was crazy. Your kid, you didn't get the education that you needed. And you send your kid to the same school thinking they're going to get an education that they need. When the world has changed, the world has advanced, but yet the school system has not. What's been taught in the classroom for many schools haven't been updated. It hasn't been updated to align with or to parallel the advancement in society and where we need individuals to be. But at the same time, I guess, hey, that's not really what the school system is for. I guess that's another thing to consider as a parent. The school system wasn't meant to turn your kid into some. It wasn't meant to help your kid reach their full potential with their intellect or their abilities. In many ways, the school system only created more employees to fit whatever job roles we have going on and what we need. And yet, we as parents, as guardians, as individuals in those children's lives, we allow these things to continue. We allow them to repeat that same cycle. This curriculum, or at least I think for those individuals who consider this curriculum, consider this information, I think this curriculum would help change a lot of that. But it's a lot of discussion that we need to have. And again, I really thought that this curriculum would be something that I would be doing in-house with a wife and family, and it would be a one-on-one, or it'd be a family discussion, not something I'll be sharing with you and everyone else, I guess, online. But since I don't have kids and since I'm at this point in life, I just figured, like, I give it to you. Be honest, part of it I just wanted to give my kids, or the thought behind this was I wanted to give my kids a childhood that would not only be a solid foundation for building up on, but I wanted to give them a head start at life in many ways. In life, and I guess some of the life experiences they will have outside of my household. I do believe that I guess that's another part. That's something I have to talk about later. Right now, I guess the main thing to take away from this question about the core philosophy, the parent plays an immeasurable, instrumental part in their child's development. I guess there's more to take away from that. The parents must be intentional. The parent must start early because there's a lot that we're going to do. The parent must be open-minded to rethinking about their values in their household and how their household runs. And that's something we're going to get more into as well. But I think the parent must be a lot more open-minded about this curriculum and what it calls for. I can't say required because, again, this is optional. It's optional for you to watch this video, just like it's optional for you to take in the curriculum and implement whichever parts of it that you may or may not want to implement. So, hopefully that answered this question for you, and we'll move on to the next question. I'll see you at the next question, and we'll go from there. Please tap in, jump in the comments if you have questions, thoughts, concerns. I'm gonna be here for a short period of time. I want to engage with you as much as possible, so I can provide clarity, provide insight, understanding, or at least have further discussion to help you build your philosophy, build your curriculum, and build a curriculum for your household and for your kids' development. I don't know if there's any, I'm sure there are things I missed. Let's talk about it. Let me see if I go, before I let you go, let me see if there's anything that I missed. One thing about this, another thing about this curriculum is meant to be structured in a way in which it recognizes that every parenting, I guess I didn't say parenting situation, which is true. It recognizes that every household is different. And what I would structure for my household is going to be largely based on my views on a lot of things, for what I think what I think my child needs, where I think the world is going, what I want my child to be involved in, partially on what I value, the morals I have, what values I want to instill within my child, what experiences I want my child. Like, these are all going to be very unique to me and the young lady, or the ideal was it'll be very unique to me and the young lady that I was having this child with. So she's going to bring something to the child and the child's development. I'm going to bring something to the child in their development. We each play an active role with ensuring that certain things are pushed into our child's lives or pushed into their learning experiences. Just like your household may be different. Your household may be a single father with 2 kids. The neighboring household may be a foster home. The household around the corner may be a 2-parent household with 5 kids. Next household may be a single mom. I don't know. Everybody's going to be different, as well as your background is going to be different. Some individuals are very analytical, very logical. They bring that to the table. Some individuals love mathematics, love to read, love different subjects. They bring that to the table, and that's going to be something they're able to implement heavier or implement with their children. Some individuals are very joyful. They make learning fun. Some parents have the ability to make learning fun, have the ability to connect more with the child. Some parents are going to just communicate, talk more verbal, expressive. That's going to be part of your curriculum. So I can't tell you that everything about my curriculum is going to fit your household. It shouldn't. Your household is unique. Who you are as an individual, as a parent, is unique. The time, energy, effort, and intention that you're willing to put into your kid and their development is going to be different than the next individual. So that's going to play a part. But I think this curriculum and how I want to discuss it or share it with you will allow for it to be very adaptable to the uniqueness of your household and the kids or children that you're raising and what you want for your kids, all right? So I think they're going to play a huge part as well. And maybe that's something we need to discuss. As well, let me say this. Different individuals are at different points of their life with their kid. For example, when I started working on this curriculum, I didn't have any kids. There wasn't like I was thinking about this curriculum, but now I have a 5-year-old or 8-year-old or whatever it may be. I'm thinking, hey, when I meet a young lady and we move in that direction to have a family or build a family, this is where we started. And we're able to start with this curriculum with this curriculum, we're able to start very early, at a very early age. We're able to start at 6 months with doing things to help our kids, help the child or the children with learning, right? Because we don't have anything already established. But for somebody who's hearing this curriculum now, you may already have a third grader. You may have somebody in sixth grade, ninth grade, or whatever it may be. You may already have a child well into different ages, and you're saying, how do I implement a curriculum like this with my household, my kids, and my life at where it's at now? I can't go back and start over and say, hey, before you were born, this is the curriculum this is the way I'm gonna lay out my house so that it aligns with the curriculum I want to teach and provide my kids in home. Some of you have already created a certain culture, and your kids are accustomed to a certain way of living within a house, to where it may be harder to change how you're basically structuring your household for your kids to learn and for what you want to give them. Some of your kids, some of you and your kids have already developed certain habits and ways of living, to where it may be a little bit harder to implement various ideals within a household, within your kids' lives and their experiences, for them to really gain everything that you may want. I don't think it's impossible. I just think you have to recognize and at least acknowledge some of the hurdles that you may now encounter trying to implement certain things within this curriculum, or from this curriculum within your household. And again, every hurdle can be jumped. Every hurdle can be jumped. But if you as a parent do not believe it's possible, you already lost half the battle, and you probably already failed your child half the way. If you as a parent can't say, I don't have time, I don't have the energy, I don't have the effort. I don't know. I know you say you don't. I don't know your life. I know a lot of parents who say they don't have time. Yeah, they got a lot of time on Facebook and on social media. They have a lot of time on Netflix or whatever they're watching. Flickster. So that being said, I don't know. If you value your kids as a priority for your life, in your life, then maybe you'll figure out how to make it work. I hear a lot of parents say, I die for my kids. I used to anyway. I die for my kids. I love my kids. But will you live for your kids? Will you live outside of your comfort zone for your kids? Will you live outside your comfort zone and start learning something so that you're able to teach this to them? Would you do that? Would you be outside of your comfort zone? A lot of people say they'll die for their kids. I think that's cute. But will you be intentional enough with your life to invest in your kid across their development so that your kid has a better life than you? Not just better as in I give my kids more of the material things I wanted, but I give my kid and I pour within my child, I invest within my kid, and you should see how much further along they are as an individual, as a human, as a person at their age than where I was at. Shout out to the sponsor of this question. My cocaine, baby. My one true addiction. Cocaine, baby. It's a hell of a drug. But yeah, I hope that answered that question. Let's move on, and I'll see you at the next one.